G'day frothers, welcome back to another adventure down south. Checking out some new grounds. The intent was to go and find some crustaceans, Eastern Rock Lobster, so we headed further south than usual. Water was pretty fresh, about 16.6 all day, and the compressed 5mm that I've got, it's a couple of years old, was just keeping me warm enough. Thankfully I've got a new wetty one in the post. Got out there just after dawn and just started doing some exploration. A bit deeper water out here, probably 4 to 6 metre range and a little bit darker, and we're just bobbing around. We're still dragging our guns at this time because we didn't really know what to expect down here. Anyway, it was some pretty cool terrain, but the first spots we dived just didn't really have what we're after. And down here, what we like to find is big bunches of crayweed and lots of little tight nooks and crannies. It's not the big caves and the big ledges that we find them under, but it's those little boulders and little nooks where they can squeeze up under there like a cockroach. Anyway, we didn't find much deeper, so we headed to the shallows. Found those patches of crayweed, those small rocks and those tight crevices, and straight away we're into some nice crayfish. Bit of a bad angle here with the GoPro, but you can see what we're looking for. Right up in those holes in the dark there, a couple of nice little kittens. This is our target species, top stuff. Now they're a fair way up in these caves, and there's plenty of small ones around. If we're unsure, we do our best not to break any antennas. Luke's got a nice little kitten here, brings it up, has a quick look, definitely undersized this one, so she gets to swim for another day, and it went back nice and healthy. And diving around you find some pretty cool stuff. Oh, this little starfish, I dig it. Check him out. He's all lumpy, he's cool, he's just doing his thing. Not a target species though. Straight down in the caves, looking what I can find. Oh, there's a toothy fellow, the old yellow moray. Not a target species, but he's hanging out with some of my favourites, Blacklip Abs. Delicious. We're very selective here and pick only the biggest ones. They are severe haemophiliacs, so any damage to them and they're going to bleed out. So if they're not at size, don't take them. Now back to the task at hand, looking for crays. And I get lucky here. From above I can spot an antenna, and that is not a common thing. They're normally tucked right up. Now, I don't know what sort of hole's behind him, and if I go down there and spook him, I might miss him. So I just sort of get myself into position on top, have a little gentle breathe up, and when I dive down, I'm going to do my best to get it in one grab, nice and clean. I'm going to whack my hand into that hole quick, try and get it by the horns, rip it out. As luck would have it, I'm not that good. I break off one of the antennas, which I bloody hate to do, but thankfully this one was clearly of size, and take him straight over to the wetty float boat, chuck him in, he's going home for the grill. Plenty of cool stuff to see when you're out diving. Just like these purple little things. I had no idea what their name was, and to be honest, it was pretty tricky to identify them. Plenty of phallic jokes come to mind. You know, if I didn't have a snorkel in my mouth, I'm sure I'd be making some right now. Anyway, enough playing about. Time to get back to the task at hand. Where are those bloody crays? Get back down on the bottom, start looking around. Find plenty more abs, which is pretty cool. It's good to see them in abundance. There's plenty of places where they've sort of been fished out, and whenever you find a spot that's got lots of them, it's really nice to see. Kept bombing around in the shallows, and in amongst this crayweed, there's plenty of opportunities for crays. They weren't all of size though, as I said, and even if you're looking really carefully, it's sometimes hard to tell. This one here, a nice little kitten that I grabbed, thankfully no damage to it. Let him go. And down south, you find these awesome little coves full of round rocks. These have been delivered here from ice rafting, so glaciers further south that have pushed out off the continent. Icebergs flowed up, a long time ago and dropped these rocks. It's pretty cool. You find like piles of them in these little coves and often lots of nice little caves. Some pretty fancy stuff. While we were down there, we found this little gem. I don't know, it's just a rock, but I think it's pretty cool. Not the target species though, of course. So, back to it, and here's some nice crays again. This one's well in size, but it's deceptive. It's up in this cave and there's just no way I can reach up there. I've got my hand jammed up as far as I can. I'm nowhere near touching it. Sometimes you just got to leave them be. It's a pretty tough thing to do to swim away. But there's always another cave to look in. It doesn't take too long to find some more. Here we are just scouting around. And sometimes when you got your eye and you can just tell if the terrain's good or not. And this sort of wasn't quite what I was after. So sort of a quick pass, just looking for nooks and crannies and things where they could be. And if I'm not finding them, I'm not spending too much time because I know when I'll get to the right rocks and the right sort of crevices to where they're going to be. And this next little spot here just held the perfect rocks. You could sort of just see the way they were shaped. There's going to be some really narrow little caves going in there, and that's where they like to be. So I get down there, and you can see one up there. His antenna's poking out behind that urchin, but I'm not going to be able to get a grab at him. He's just a little bit too far in. It's a nice thing, like if you're diving with a mate, you can sometimes have a look around at a few little entrances and exits. You know, send the other fella down while you're having a breathe up. If they can't grab the cray, sometimes they can manoeuvre him into a spot that's a little bit easier for one of you to go back afterwards. And we tend to work as a team when we're out there. I was lucky enough that these drops sort of moved the cray to a different entrance, and I was able to go down, sort of jam my hand in from the side hole here. You can just see him there, and a quick grab, get it around the horns, getting back in the boat. Lovely stuff. Now the footage wasn't awesome, but by this time we had 5 crays in the float boat, 4 nice size abs, and Luke had got a fantastic cephalopod. Really nice ockie. Fantastic food. Just getting ready to finish up, doing a couple of little sort of swim throughs on these ledges. They're not quite full caves, but they're really cool. Nice terrain, just beautiful stuff. So thought we'd add a couple of clips where it's not just us trying to grab hold of cockroaches under ledges. It's the end of the dive. Pretty knackered, plenty of up and down time. We've got the best feed you can possibly get off the South Coast. Cephalopods, gastropods, and crustaceans. Could not ask for any more. Well, thanks for hanging around, frothers. Hope you enjoyed it. Now the diving ends here. However, if you're new to catching crays or abs or you're not quite sure how to cook them, the rest of the video has got a few little tips and tricks that you might like to see. Time to get out to the garden, pick some ingredients for this lobby. Nice fresh lemon. All right, beautiful fresh South Coast cray, still alive. It's been kept chilled. Also an ab here, still alive. I do like to keep these fresh or actually alive if I can, all the way right to the point of cooking. Very different to my fish, which I like to age for at least 24 hours before I even touch the flesh, keep them whole that whole time, and can push them out to many more days dry aging. These I keep alive and I'll euthanize, kill very humanely. In this case I'll get it into the freezer and slow it right down before it goes into that boiling water. And fresh lemon from the lemon tree out the back. Going to keep this super simple. Going to boil the cray in water salted at the same level as the ocean. So in this case 3 litres of water, 120 grams of salt. It's going to be boiled in a rolling boil for about 10 minutes. And the ab here, pretty simple. You can do lots of things. You can smash and bash them. You can make plenty of fancy dishes. But for me, I just like to slice them nice and thin, a couple of mil wide each. And then I'm just going to fry them off. You can do it in a butter or an oil of your choice. Dash of salt, squeeze a lemon, a little bit of lemon rind, and they'll be absolutely bloody delicious. All right, for these abs, it's super simple. Old dessert spoon, nothing fancy. Don't use your best silverware. I'm just going to get these down in under the shell here. You can just peel them off, get that muscle, get through that muscle, pop this off real nice and clean with losing almost no meat. You'll see the membrane here holds them on around the back. You can do a few ways to do this, but just today I'll be nice and civilised. Just get the sharp little knife in there and cut around there. Pull this ab out, shell there. I'm going to keep that and make a flasher. Fish tracking device, I'll do another video on that when I've got some time. You can use all this, but personally it's not my favourite and it's not for what I want today, so I'm going to get rid of the guts and goo. Be a simple entree for myself, and I don't worry about any of the stuff. I don't remove the black, I don't cut the lips back, I don't give it a scrub. I've kept it, hasn't touched fresh water since it left the ocean. I managed to remove it from the shell without making a mess, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm just going to slice this nice and thin, sort of 1 to 3 millimeter slices. And these are just going to be fried off, and a little bit of tallow in this case, but butter's an absolutely beautiful thing, adds a lovely flavour to it. I'm just not eating butter at the moment actually. Dash of a nice sea salt, in this case sea salt I made myself from harvesting out of the ocean down the south coast. It's kind of cool to, you know, be able to use salt from the same ocean you harvested your food from. And yeah, nice little thin slices like this, be beautiful. I've rather scored the biggest batch of Bolivian glow. This is just South Coast sea salt again. This is a pretty straightforward cook up. Nice hot pan, an oil of your choice. I do recommend butter or ghee as my preferred, although this was tallow. They get a really quick fry off in here. The only things I'm adding is some fresh sea salt, a good pinch because I love food salty, and also nice bit of lemon rind just grated over there. It's really nice. I actually prefer this over the lemon juice, and although I may put a squirt of juice on after it's cooked, I don't put that in while I'm cooking. And this gets a little flick, barely cooked at all, and then just plate them up and serve them while they're nice and warm. I have to apologise in advance, although I'm putting all the effort in here to throw it into one of my serving platters, being a cleaned ab shell. I was going to put a nice little display together for everyone. I actually got really hungry while I was cooking, and I just ate them all before I'd plated up everything. So this is all I've got for you. Apologies there, folks. Pretty simple treat. Eastern Rock Lobster, boiled in ocean water for 10 minutes. Chilled, beautiful and firm. Lemon rind infused warmed ghee for dipping. A few little squirts of lemon juice. Yeah, and you know I'm eating that head butter. Goodness.